It is a beautiful day for a CrossFit pool party. Thanks for joining us here on day 4 of competition at the 2022 NOBULL CrossFit Games. We are at the Soderholm Family Aquatic Center in Madison, Wisconsin, on the campus of the University of Wisconsin. I'm Sean Woodland alongside Chase Ingram. Nikki Brazier is poolside for us as we get set to start the 8th of 13 events for the individuals. We're going to do some rinsing, and then we're going to repeat.
Oh, man, I just feel like home, obviously, with my swim background from college. And you look at this event, and swimming is the big deal. We're back in the pool for the first time with a giant field since 2013. Obviously, we had swimming stuff in 2020. But it's a beep test style event every 2 minutes. Now, for the swimmers in the field, this is just one large buy-in. But what we saw on the team side is that everybody is pretty much making it to that final round. But if you are a good swimmer and a competent one in the water, saving it for the end. It's just a big build-up until the finish.
That is your recipe for success, presented by Trifecta. There will be 20 women in the pool here. Julia Cato in lane 3 has some swimming experience. Paige Powers in lane 13 at a CrossFit Mayhem, used to being in the water with that crew, and a former diver.
And the deal here is, like, it's not that the best swimmers are going to win this event outright, because this is a ski event at the end of the day. The athlete that has the most cows skied at the end will be the winner. But with Kato having a background in swimming means that buy-in portion of the first 6 rounds is merely getting prepped for those final 2 max out sets.
First round underway, 2-minute window, down and back, 50 total meters, and then 8 calories on the Ski Erg.
Talking to Adrian Bosman, and the spirit behind this is sort of a beep test format, where traditionally in a beep test you have a fixed amount of work set on a fixed time frame. So whether it's on the minute, in this case every 2 minutes, but mixed in with this as well is a format called a death by format. We've seen that, that's, again, we talk about an old school style of workout where every round you add 2 cows on the Ski Erg. So they're always going to do a 50-yard swim. The first round is just 8 cows on the ski. And it's really hard to judge who's going to be successful, because really you could be the first one out of the pool, you could be the first one off in the 8 cows, but it doesn't matter. These rounds are not for time. What these rounds are doing is taking energy away from the end. So what you want to see is the competent swimmer is staying relaxed in the pool and almost using it as recovery. And then until we get to like 12, 14, 16 cows, it's really not a priority at the moment.
Powers, Kato, and Freyova were the first 3 women to the Ski Erg. All the competitors are going to get through this first round with little trouble. They'll have plenty of time to rest. The next round starting at 2 minutes. Next time, swim stays the same, but now it's going to be 10 calories. What
you look at between rounds is just seeing the comfortability of the athletes. You will start seeing more labored breathing from the athletes, but that doesn't necessarily translate to they're getting more fatigued, at least physically, when it comes to the movement. But the thing I like about this is that you're coupling the swim with the skiing. Very, very similar movement patterns, very, very similar muscle groups. And the athletes that are the most comfortable in the water can use that as an advantage as these rounds advance.
Second round underway, 50-meter swim, now 10 calories. And so far, Powers, Kato, and Freyova have been the fastest swimmers, but that's only 3 rounds.
Kato in the bottom right lane, she's in lane number 3, just did a flip turn. And if you really want to see some competent swimmers, it's those that can throw the flip turn in there. It's a faster turn. You do have an element of holding your breath, but if you have any swimming background whatsoever, it's not necessarily negative. If you don't have one, I actually encourage an open turn, which means you touch the wall, keep your head above the water, and get some good breathing in. Because like I said before, so if you can just get across the pool comfortably, not necessarily fast, it's really not a big issue in this event, especially in these early rounds.
Kato, Powers, and Freyova once again the first 3 women to the Ski Erg.
So that we're talking about similar movement pattern, that pull overhead through the middle and that finish, past the hips or past the knees. And that's really the swim stroke, especially when you're looking at this freestyle version that most athletes are doing. There's a lot of interference here. how comfortable. See Paige Powers next to Karin Freyova. Those three, with Kato included, those are your best swimmers in this heat. And when you want to see comfortability in the water, just watch the start and watch the turns. Here on the turn, there's an open turn on the right with Freyova, and then the flip turn on the left with Paige Powers. And for Freyova, she's got a decent swim stroke and length, but she opts for the open turn to get an extra breath.
Third 2-minute interval. We are now up to 12 calories. Every athlete still alive in the field here.
Love the length of that stroke. One thing you look at for a good freestyle stroke is there's not a lot of bubbles on the front part of their hand. She's got good rotation in the shoulders, and that's what you want to see is that swimmers that have a comfortability or a background like Kato has clearly is that she has a nice clean entry with the front part of her hand. And when I say no bubbles is that if you got bubbles because you're splashing down on the top of the water, you're actually not getting a good grab on the water itself, right? Pulling through air is not going to be as effective as pulling through water. So that clean entry of the hand allows her a good catch in the front of the stroke, which means more power for the pull.
Kato, Powers, and Freyova, the first three women again to the Ski Erg. Danielle Spiegel was also there pretty early, as was Sola Sigurdardottir. Less than a minute to go in this next window.
See nice, comfortable pulls, all three athletes. Nice long pulls as well. And you're going to see the same stroke as you would here, like I said, with the swim. It's a really, really neat combo of movements. You know, we talk about redundancy, say in your gym, right? And a workout like JT, there's push-ups, ring dips, and handstand push-ups, right? That's redundancy. Same movement pattern, different planes that you're moving in. This one, that full body length pull from basically in front of the face and towards the hips. One thing to think about is the amount of work these athletes have done over the last 3 days have been very, very shoulder intensive, specifically towards the triceps. A lot of handstand work, handstand walking, ring dips, traverse, shouldered overhead. And the triceps itself, along with the lats, is a major muscle group that can help your efficiency with the swim stroke.
We are in the round of 14. Keeping on at lane 6, Elisa Fuliano was the last woman done with her 12 calories and had about 6 seconds of rest before she got back in the pool.
What we said earlier is that this is a ski event. If you're comfortable in the pool, you don't even have to be a great swimmer, but if you do not have a swimming background or you're very uncomfortable in the pool, that's where we'll see a big separator. Most of these athletes, unless they just can't swim well, are all going to get to those last 2 rounds when the race is again on the ski erg.
Now into the round of 14, and once again, Kato, Powers, and Freyova. And Victoria Campos now, the first 4 women to begin their 14-calorie ski. So far, all 20 women still alive. And again, keep an eye on lane number 6. That's where Lisa Fuliano is working. She was the last woman done with her calories in the round of 12. Just a couple seconds to spare.
And that's the deal. It's total cals skied for the event. And if you get, and this is where that beep test comes into play. You don't make the 2-minute mark, you're done. And you know, whether you're done, it's however many cals you got up to that point.
Paige Powers on the left, Karin Freyova on the right. The 2 of them are through with plenty of time to spare.
Now, I said one thing you need to look at, body language, how these athletes are doing, labored breathing. But the length of stroke, right? You've got that nice easy entry out of the pool. Even that to a certain extent, I mean, that's reaching as far as redundancy, but the out of the pool thing is, we have a lot of, again, pulling yourself out of the pool, pressing up through to get out of the water.
Don't just manage your pain, fix it with a Rossi Remote Recovery, now available nationwide. Scan the QR code to learn more and get started. All 20 athletes still alive, but there are 3 right now who have been Going right up to the final seconds, Elisa Fuliano, Sarah Kaya, and Caroline Spencer just sneaked in before that beep to start this round of 16 calories.
I love watching Kato swim. That's textbook. The way it's supposed to be done. And as these rounds increase on the ski, there's no reason really to increase the intensity of your swim. What you're going to see from competent swimmers, they don't even have to have a necessarily swim background, is their ability to use the swim as break time, essentially.
That's Elisa Fuliano on the right side of your screen, who doesn't look like she's going to be able to make it past this round.
All right, we're going to have a couple of those as we get deeper into the field, but you know, when it was first on paper and this unveiled, I was really thinking of how many would actually make to the end, but watching the teams go, wow. People have been putting in the work in the pool. If this event showed up in 2013, I don't think 10% of the field is making the final round. So it's really cool to see the advancement of athletes in swimming specifically.
I mean, it wasn't that long ago you threw these athletes in the water and looked like Caddy Day at Bushwick Country Club. I mean, it was just, but now they look a lot more proficient than they used to.
Yes. You know, and we've seen that get better because of the necessity of it to have a successful games campaign. And I like one of the skills we've seen on the gymnastics side is really the new swim pool, and that's going to push the envelope.
Fuliano did not make it. Neither did Caroline Spencer. Spencer may have sneaked in.
Now, there's a shot clock essentially on the start of the swim. So you can finish your cows and you must enter the water within 30 seconds of the next interval.
Fuliano may be the only woman out. It looks like everybody did get inside.
I think Spencer got it.
We did have 3 people eliminated. We had Elisa Fuliano, Sarah Kaya also, and I believe Caroline Spencer did not make it.
Now, things I'm looking at, right? You can look at really how they seem on the pool, but we can see their paces. Kato is about 1,100 cows per hour with an easy swim. Nicolation is sitting at 1,300. That's actually some of the higher cows we saw some of the team athletes doing on the individual men's side. So Nicolation is absolutely blasting the cows per hour. There's no one above 1,100 except for Gazan. She's right about 1,200 calories per hour. So Gazan and Nicolation actually have the strongest pull so far, where you see an easier stroke from these athletes because, you know, this is their first set of max cows. And so the question is, should you send both and hopefully hang on in the middle, or save a little bit towards the end?
So this is the round of 18. So 78 is the number they got to hit. Their first round of max cows now happens next, and then the final round of max cows after that. So now it's just sell out for the rest of the event. And
you got to get it within that 2-minute test, which is why we saw a lot of those athletes pushing the pace just to get there. Now for the athletes, we said it's a ski test. This is a max cal sport event. You don't need to send this swim any harder than you have leading up to this. But when you get to the Ski Erg, now it's time to send.
It looks like Rebecca Fuselier got knocked out in that last round as well. So 16 of the 20 women making it into this first max calorie effort.
Top 3 all getting out right around 38 seconds, which is where they've been the entire time. And here's where the event starts. This is max cals in the time remaining. So the time is in the upper left corner of your screen, all the way up to the 14-minute mark. And now for athletes, work up to the last second into the 14, because really, I mean, we do this in the gym. You have the questions like, do I get to count the rollover? Yes, you do. Absolutely you do. You don't need to hit the water at 14. You need to stop skiing at 14, because when we're counting cows, one cow can tick off a little bit.
Karin Freyova right now is your leader with 90 calories done. Kato, Powers, Moosbrugger, and Turner are all close with 30 seconds left in this window.
Kato's pace is at 1,000 calories per hour. Mikulishin is just above her. Turner in lane number 5 actually has the highest so far at 1,100 calories per hour, as well as Freyova. It didn't really matter how you got here. It all matters what you do in these last 2 rounds.
There's a look at Julia Kato's monitor.
Right up to the last second. Back in the water. Your comfortable swimmers will have no hesitation getting in. They can stay long. This can be a moment of active recovery. And again, you don't need to swim faster. You just need to swim more comfortably. And it looks like Freyova may have the lead so far with 100 cals, or 104. So she has 104, Moosbrugger has 101, Kato has 101, and Powers has 100.
Here comes Paige Powers.
So Powers actually had a much better swim, and this is where the comfortability, because Freyova had great swims, or she had good swims, but not necessarily a swimmer. Powers and Kato have the swimming background, so they cannot lose any speed after a max effort skier. Powers now past Freyova. They're tied at 105.
Moosbrugger is moving up as well. She's at 105. Danny Spiegel is starting to make a move, as is Ellie Turner. Julia Kato as well is at 109.
Now we're looking at paces, because you can start fast, but you got to stay fast. Kato is 1,200 calories per hour. Lane number 5, Turner is at 1,350. Turner's behind by about a handful of cals.
Final 20 seconds in this window. Most calories is going to win the heat, and right now it's Julia Kato trying to hold off Paige Powers and Freya Moosbrugger. Ellie Turner and Karin Freyova also making a charge late here. 10 seconds to go.
1 cal separating Kato, Powers, and Freyova. Turner's in the mix as well.
And that will do it for heat number 1, and it looks like Julia Kato is going to beat out Ellie Turner and Paige Powers by 1 calorie. 125 for Kato, Turner, and Powers, each amassing 124. Freya Moosbrugger is in 4th at 123, followed by Karin Freyova at 121. Just 5 calories separating 1st from 7th.
And Turner and Moosbrugger paced that beautifully for the first 6 rounds leading into the max sets.
Julia Kato and Ellie Turner right now are listed as tied, but on our display from Kato's monitor, Kato may have sneaked out another calorie. Paige Powers and Freya Moosbrugger at 123, and then Karin Freyova at 121, one ahead of both Spiegel and Mikulishin. Heat number 2 coming up next. Day number 4 of competition continues here in Madison, Wisconsin at the 2022 NOBULL CrossFit Games. We have relocated to the Soderholm Family Aquatic Center on the campus of the University of Wisconsin. Thanks so much for being with us, everybody. I'm Sean Woodland with Chase Ingram. Nikki Brazier is poolside for us. Gonna rinse and repeat in event number 8.
We're at the pool, but it's all about the Ski Erg.
Tia Toomey is your overall leader by 44 points over Mal O'Brien. Emma Lawson, the 17-year-old, is just 3 points out of second place, and Haley Adams sits in 4th.
Tia Toomey came into the day just with a small lead on the field, but her performance from top to bottom got her ahead of Mal O'Brien. Now, Mal O'Brien still sitting in second place, took a big hit last night. And Emma Lawson, what more can you say about her campaign as a 17-year-old sitting in 3rd overall, just 3 points behind Mal O'Brien? Every 2 minutes, beep test in the pool. 50-yard swim down and back, starting with an 8-cal ski, must all be completed in that 2-minute window. You can rest when you're done. And then every round you'll add 2 cals on the ski until the final 2 where it's max cals for 2 sets. It's a buy-in. If you're a good swimmer and if you're just comfortable in the pool, do what we saw Moosberger and Turner do. Just wait for the end. And whatever you got left, that's when you send it. The Ski Erg is one of those monostructural movements, one of the machines that you can put a lot of work in and not get too taxed on the backside.
Let's go down to Nikki Brazier.
The community is out here at the pool today. It is super loud here, and one of the coolest parts of this event is that once all these folks leave the pool, they'll have the opportunity to take this on as well. This is the only event at the CrossFit Games this year that will be performed across all divisions exactly the same way, and there's a version of it posted on the main site today as well. There's a dry land version in case you can't get to a pool, featuring a run and burpees so that everyone across the entire community can take a crack at it for themselves.
20 women in the second of 2 heats. Overall leader Tia Toomey will be right in the middle of the pool. Also want to keep an eye on Amanda Barnhart at the far side in lane 20.
Honestly, Sean, you can close your eyes and throw a dart and you're going to hit a good swimmer in this field. It's pretty amazing, but Tia Toomey doing everything she needed to do yesterday to get herself a substantial lead over Mal O'Brien. We say substantial 50 points. Usually we're used to 250 points. But as I said, she has not lost an event that had a swim in it since 2015.
First round is underway, just 8 calories they need to complete. Hasn't been a problem so far. The top scores that we have seen, Julia Cotto and Ellie Turner, 124 total calories. That was in heat number 1. Paige Powers is one behind them, along with Freya Moosberger at 123.
Tia Toomey in the center lane. She has the only white cap in the field. So the best ones we saw pace-wise each round in the last heat was about 37 to 38 seconds out of the pool. She's out in 35.
Toomey first to start the Ski Erg. Amanda Barnhart was second, followed by Christy O'Connell, and now just about everybody else is through their first 50-meter swim and onto the ski.
Tia's pushing the pace pretty good. I mean, Tia's rolling at 1,000 cal per hour pace. Like I said, it's just a buy-in, and buy-in can be 2 separate things, Sean. It can be effort or it can be time. If I want a little bit more time to rest, I'm gonna have to swim a little faster, ski a little harder. If I just want to make sure that I save energy towards the end, this is that give or take we see a lot of athletes play with in events, especially AMRAPs and things of that nature. Is I just want to get there as easy as possible, because until we get to the max rounds of 2 minutes and 2 minutes for 2 sets, it really doesn't matter how fast you go.
Saw Danielle Brandon, she and Tubi were the first 2 women done with that initial 8-calorie ski. 20 seconds before we start the second window, where the athletes will now need to leave 10 calories on here.
Moving from 8 cals to 10.
Stand by.
Swim will stay the same.
Danielle Brandon right now, 6th place overall. Cracked the top 5.
Yeah, she was there. She just had a tough event finish last night in the echo press.
Tubi in that white swim pattern in the middle.
Two's ahead. 2 lanes below her is Haley Adams, who's keeping pace with her. Tia took that first one out pretty quick.
Amanda Barnhart as well, with the swim. And Haley Adams is right there.
And it sounds odd to say, but you know, they've probably been standing around. There is a warm-up pool below this pool here, so they've been skiing, so they've been having time to practice. Obviously, you got to stand around a bit before you get corralled. And you see this a lot in people's warm-ups before the workout actually starts, is you'll do something high intense for just a 60-second bout to just kind of reset the system. And I usually call it just like getting that first wind out of the wind, right? You know that feeling you walk up a flight of stairs and you realize, like, am I this out of shape? I can't believe I'm this labored breathing walking up 1 flight of stairs. And sometimes you just need that kickstart to just set the system. Want to see that by Tia's strategy in that first round.
And everyone is through with those 10 calories. 20 women still alive as we move into window number 3 that will start in 4 minutes.
That rest interval is going to get less and less, but if you can still exude the same effort, even though the cows get longer on the skis. We talked about some of the best swimmers in the last heat. They were all in the top 3 spots. How do you pace yourself out for that final ski erg?
Ellie Turner was one that we really didn't start talking about until those max effort skis. She was able to tie Julia Conto at 124 calories in heat number 1. So the second and final heat for the women. We are now in the 3rd window. 2 minutes to complete that 50-meter swim. And 12 calories on the erg.
Flip turn is going to allow you to have a quicker turnaround, a little bit more speed off the wall. You don't get as much of a breath at the turn as you see most athletes doing that open turn. We're saying how it's going to come down to the skis, so you look at some of the athletes in this field, Sean. Horvath, Amanda Barnes, Tia Toomey, Laura Saunders, Danielle Brandon. I mean, you go down the list and you just see athletes that can crush machine. And if they can get to the last round comfortably, it's really kind of a crapshoot of trying to guess who's going to win at the end of this based off who the athletes are in this field.
There's Tia Toomey. She and Danielle Brandon right now leading the ski pace. Brandon slightly ahead. She has the fastest calorie per hour, the highest calorie per hour. She's about a little more than 1,100 right now, almost 1,200 on her ski. And Brandon is now done and has more than 30 seconds to rest, along with most of the field. Danielle Brandon, 6th overall. She only trails Christy O'Connell by 11 points for 5th.
I find it interesting, this is the second interval-based event we've had. Earlier was the sprint pusher, plus another one coming after this.
Fourth 2-minute window, 14 calories now need to be completed. That's still all 20 women alive in this event.
And after this, we still have a 16 and an 18 before we get to those 2 rounds of max effort.
Top of your screen, Danielle Brandon is slightly ahead of Tia Toomey on that turn. Al O'Brien and Emma Lawson, the athletes immediately above and below Toomey on your screen, are staying right with her on that swim.
That's really all you need to do. You're not going to win this race on the swim, especially, even at the end. And just finding that nice long pace. I like Danielle Brandon's stroke here. That big reach overhead, that big pull through the middle and below the knee. So she's getting a lot of more distance per stroke. But Emma Lawson on the right, a bit shorter. Right? She's a bit of a smaller athlete relative to, say, Danielle Brandon. Danielle Brandon's going to be able to put a lot more power into that. And you can see it. Danielle Brandon set at like 1170 as far as her pace. Lawson, about 100 cal per hour less.
44 is the number they need to hit. On the fourth, Brandon once again is going to be done first haul by Toomey and O'Connell. 30 seconds. O'Brien also in there as well. Now we move to the round of 16.
Work's getting higher, rest is getting less. Barnhart. Might need to go wake her up. She's so relaxed 10 seconds at the moment.
She's a former D1 swimmer at Cleveland State University. She swam for Wadsworth High School. She was a state qualifier as a sophomore and a senior, and a member of a relay team that set 4 school records.
So she's above average. rounds, it's interesting to see that the bunching is a bit tighter in the front than we've seen in the previous sets leading up to this. We've had more people gaining some ground on the swim, not so much here.
Christy O'Connell, Tia Toomey, Lucy Campbell, who's quite an accomplished open water swimmer, and Amanda Barnhart were the first 4 women done with the swim. 60 calories, that's the number you need to hit in order to move on to the next round. Before the 10-minute mark.
Toomey still has a strong pace. She's at about 1140 calories per hour. Brandon is getting close to 1200. And O'Brien is starting to pick up her pace. So O'Brien's getting her name out there, and at the bottom, Barnhart, about 1140. So athletes are starting to tinker with what pace they're going to be comfortable with. Campbell is at a slower stroke rate. She's actually under 1,000, but again, it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter right now unless you're going to 30 seconds. And for her comfortable pace with her open water background with swimming, I mean, she's got the endurance in the lungs. In open water is about slow, methodical rhythmic stroke anyways, as far as the swim's concerned.
She's a former UK national team open water swimmer as a teenager with Lucy Campbell.
10 seconds.
At Junior Europeans and 8th at Junior Worlds. Just take a look at Danielle Brandon.
Stand by.
Okay, this is the last round, the round of 18 before we hit those max cals.
All 20 athletes are still alive. Don't just manage your pain, fix it with a Rosti Remote Recovery, now available nationwide. Scan the QR code to learn more and get started. Top of your screen, Barnhart, 2 legs down from her, Lucy Campbell. Middle of the screen, the white swim cap is Tia Toomey. And then 2 legs down from her is Christy O'Connell. Once again, the 4 of them out of the water first. Now they have to complete 18 calories to get to 78. And then it's the bonus rounds to add to your score. Toomey on the left, Amanda Barnhart on the right. Toomey right now leads in the ski, slightly ahead. I take that back. Amanda Barnhart is your leader on the ski right now, more than 1,200 calories per hour that she is pulling. Toomey sits in 2nd place, followed by O'Brien and Lucy Campbell, as well as Danielle Brandon.
Looking at paces too, McQuaid and McGowa have touched the 1,200 cal per hour during this. So we're setting the scene for what should shake out to be a good race in these last 2 rounds. Again, these last 2 rounds are going to be for max cals that they all get under their 18 cals in the next 30 seconds. See, the turnover rate for Tia was much faster than Barnhart, but Barnhart finished sooner than Tia.
Carolyn Credo is one of the only athletes still skiing, and she's going to have to do some work there at the far end of the floor to get in.
Stand
by. She's going to do it. But all 20 women alive now, and as we said in the last week, this is where the event starts. And just because you didn't do well in the swim in the first rounds doesn't mean you can't make up ground here, i.e. Ellie Turner in heat number 1.
Exactly, and it's, again, we don't want to say it's not about the swim because the swim has a definite fatigue element and time allotted element. But there's no need to outrace anyone if it's going to take away from your ability to hit the ski.
Take a look at Amanda Barnhart on the last ski, and then we left her in the pool. She and Lucy Campbell were way out front. Barnhart is out.
She's behind Campbell. Campbell pushed the pace hard in that first 50 yards, and she's hitting at about 1,300 calories per hour.
It's Campbell, followed by Barnhart, Toomey, Saunders, and Horvath here on this max calorie row.
It's one athlete we just didn't talk about too much is Saunders' ability to have success in the water. We've seen that at the beach events in Carson. But Laurel Horvath in upper lane in lane 3, she's cranking taken on the Ski Erg as well, but Campbell got there so fast that she's had the time to get some cows on this field.
Score to beat is 124 calories. Julia Cato and Ellie Turner both accomplished that in heat number 1. And right now, Lucy Campbell is your leader. Barnhart trails by 1. Tia-clair on the lead pace. And Horvath and Saunders, who we didn't talk about at all in those preliminary rounds, are now making a move here in the max effort round, the first of 2 max effort rounds.
You got 20 seconds. Ski all the way up to the 14-minute mark, and then maybe do one more pull before you jump in the water. Don't get off the ski early. It's not going to help at all. It's not about the swim. It's not starting to swim sooner. It's getting to the wall faster and skiing as long as you can.
Well, Paige Semenza taking a break early, and lane 19 is going to hop right back in the pool. And now this is the final round. Lucy Campbell leads with 109 calories.
Top part of your screen. Crushing the swim again. And this is where it pays to have a dedicated swimming background. She's going to be able to get about 5 seconds on the field. That might be 1 or 2 cows. She already has a head start on them on.
I think Laura Horvath may have been the second woman out of the pool. 124, the top score. Lucy Campbell leads at 114. Tia-clair is trying to keep pace, as is Amanda Barnhart, but Lucy Campbell's pulling at 1,300 calories per hour, as is Laura Horvath. Horvath has now moved into 3rd.
See, athletes, you want to get as tall as you can, reach as high as you can, and just drop that chest and pull.
Laura Horvath is on the right side of your screen in lane 3.
Horvath making a move on Toomey. Horvath pulling at 1,400 calories per hour. No one's even close to that.
Lucy Campbell still leads. Campbell now is looking at an event win if she can hold off Barnhart and Horvath here in the final 20 seconds.
Laura Horvath, 14:65. She's closing in on Barnhart. She's 100 cal per hour faster.
10 seconds to go. Lucy Campbell's got to hang on here. Barnhart and Horvath look like they're going to run out of time, so Lucy Campbell is going to pick up the event win and rinse and repeat with 138 calories. Amanda Barnhart will edge out Laura Horvath. Tia-clair is going to take 4th in the event, and she will widen her lead over both Mal O'Brien and Emma Lawson. Great effort late by Laura Horvath. Same recipe we saw from Ellie Turner in heat number 1.
Horvath really needed that. She's had a tough first half of the competition, but what's been in there almost every event is those high technical, high skilled gymnastics movement, which is not a strength. These events we've seen so far today, the swim and what's coming up at North Park, this is a great opportunity for Laura Horvath to get some much needed points to get her back up the leaderboard.
But it's Lucy Campbell, the CrossFit Games rookie, with her first career event win, who paced this perfectly and then stomped the gas late.
Said it's a ski event, but if you can swim, you can relax and you can save it all for the ski. Lucy Campbell not only did save her speed for the end, her speed in the water gave her more time on the Ski Erg, and the way she attacked this the whole way through, her pace never dropped from start to finish.
Lucy Campbell amasses 138 calories, beats Amanda Barnhart by 4. Laura Horvath was 1 calorie behind Barnhart. And Tia-clair at 131 is going to take 4th place. And she will extend her lead over Mal O'Brien, who ties for 8th. Emma Lawson will finish in 16th place. So Mal O'Brien has a little breathing room now as it comes to the race for 2nd place in the overall standings. Men coming up next. The 2022 NOBULL CrossFit Games are sponsored by Rogue, the official equipment supplier of the NOBULL CrossFit Games. NOBULL. No excuses, no shortcuts, no gimmicks, no tomorrows. No bull. Trifecta, the official meal delivery partner of CrossFit. Ford, the official supplement partner of CrossFit. And Guaranteed Rate, the official mortgage company of the NOBULL CrossFit Games. Beautiful Saturday in Madison, Wisconsin, and it's a great day for a pool day. Day number 4 of the 2020 NOBULL CrossFit Games. We are inside the Soderholm Family Aquatic Center on the campus of the University of Wisconsin. I'm Sean Woodland alongside Chase Ingram, Mike Arsenault. Probably hanging out in the koozie.
Oh, home sweet home for me, Sean. It's good to see the pool back in action here at the CrossFit Games. Rinse and repeat every 2 minutes. 50-yard swim, that will stay the same. 8 cal ski to start in the 2 minutes. Every set adding 2 cals until we hit the 20 or after the 18 for max cals. It's a buy-in for the best, meaning if you're a great swimmer, sit back and take a load off until we get to the end. And then as you saw last night, full pulsing last 2 rounds.
The patron saint of full send is Tim Paulson. 20 men in this first of 2 heats. I want to keep an eye on 2 guys who are right next to each other, lane 7 and lanes 8, Brent Fikowski and Guillaume Briand.
Brent Fikowski's got a great background in history with swim events, but Guillaume Briand is one of the better swimmers, and if not the fastest one in the pool.
Guillaume Briand, who sits in 27th overall after 7 events, making his first ever appearance at the CrossFit Games. First round underway, and as we have seen through a couple heats of the women's competition, these first 3 or 4 rounds just a warm-up.
Especially the first one, 50-yard swim down and back. Your confident swimmer is going to take anywhere between 30 to 40 seconds. Your best swimmers don't need to push the pace any harder than they need to do. Like I said, it's a buy-in. And if you're not comfortable in the water, you still don't need to push the pace too much in the swimming portion. Now as the cals on the ski get bigger, that's really where you're gonna have to put your time and energy, because that's where it counts. It counts on the ski.
Guy Majeros is the first man to the Ski Erg, followed closely by Briand and Fikowski, and just about every man is onto his first round of 8 calories.
There's not much you can tell early on other than maybe who the not comfortable swimmers in the water are, but as far as who's going to have success or failure, it's nearly impossible to tell. I mean, how many times on the women's side did we talk about 2 or 3 athletes doing well, and then 3 names hop up into the top 5 that we didn't talk about until the last 2 rounds?
Guy Majeros on the bottom left-hand part of your screen. Grease Saber and Joris Karavis also doing pretty well in that first round in the water, so we'll keep an eye on them as we move through this event.
And all this time right now is to just get your breathing back under control. And the bigger breaths you can get in, the more oxygen you're circulating through the system, and that also lowers the heart rate. So the recovery in these first couple of sets is going to be a big priority for those that are, again, comfortable in the water. It's not about being the best swimmer. It's about being the most comfortable and efficient athlete. In the end, it's going to be about who can pull on that ski erg the best.
Stand by.
swimmers, the confident ones, are going to be doing a flip turn here at the end of the 25. You see some open turns as well. And that's more of a comfortability thing. A flip turn is a unique skill to swimming in particular. You can be a decent swimmer as far as CrossFitters are concerned and still not be comfortable with a flip turn. And that's okay. An open turn, being able to get an extra breath on that turn is actually a smart move for someone that's not as comfortable on the flip turn. It's not a necessity to do a flip turn to be good in this event.
Guy Hiddles and Guillaume Briand, the first two men to start their ski, followed closely by Brent Fikowski and a host of others. Don't just manage your pain, fix it with Arasti Remote Recovery, now available nationwide. You can scan the QR code to learn more and get started.
Look at Brent Fikowski on the right. We're talking about staying relaxed, this being a buy-in. That's what a buy-in should look like. Even Briand to his left. This shows that they are just patiently waiting, and sometimes it's about getting more rest, maybe doing it faster and getting more time of no work. The way this format is set up, especially with the swim, if you're a decent swimmer, that swim can also be a part of your rest. We talk about active recovery. Just like you would walk around to recover in between track sprints, a slow swim for a good swimmer is the same exact thing. Basically irrelevant as far as a fatigue element. Actually, a slow swim is how you recover in between swim intervals.
Stand by.
We're now into the round of 12. You mentioned Brent Fikowski just hasn't been able to get on track here. 25th overall. And the highest he's been on the overall leaderboard is 22nd.
And a lot of it looks uncharacteristic to Brent Fikowski. And he's looking at this right ankle. He's got it taped up. And I'm not going to assume anything. I'm not a doctor, but you don't have something on there because everything is perfectly and physically fine with you. And maybe that is the reason why we haven't really seen a normal Brent Fikowski like we do at the CrossFit Games for live competition. I mean, that is a professional tape job. To me, that shows there is some type of limitation in that ankle.
Remember last year or 2 years ago, he had a lot of tape on the hamstring and leg.
Yes.
Wouldn't say anything about it, but now tape on the ankle. Let's go down to Mike Arsenault, who has the women's winner, Lucy Campbell.
Lucy, 100 points here to kick off the weekend here at the CrossFit Games. What was this experience like? Obviously, your swim technique is unparalleled. What did it feel like to actually be in that pool?
Yeah, it was really cool. It was nice to be, obviously it's normally in the lake, so it was nice to be part of something different. But it was just a really tactical one because it was just making sure that you could get to that last kind of 4-minute window to be able to really push it. So yeah, it was really cool, really.
Speaking of that last 4-minute window, it was 4 minutes without any rest whatsoever, 100% work. How did you feel like going through it and immediately afterwards?
I knew that I was going to push the swim a lot more on both of them. I did wonder when I went in for the second swim if I'd gone a little bit too hard on the ski on the first bit, but luckily I kind of was able to back it up the second time and then maintain that pace on the ski on the second window.
Thank you, Lucy. You have a bus to catch. We'll see you in the North Park.
Thank you.
Lucy Campbell, her first career event win at the CrossFit Games, as the men are now into the round of 14 calories. All 20 athletes still very much alive.
What I'd like everybody to do is take a step back. I'm a swimming snob. Obviously, I was a D1 swimmer, All-American water polo player, and I'm very judgy when it comes to swimming. This is great. Look how far we've come in a decade. Do you remember what we looked like in the pool in 2013?
Like I said, Caddy Day at Bushwood Country Club.
I felt like they should have handed out arm floaties to all the athletes before they jump in the water. That's how they looked, and look how far we have come in a decade. And that is the coolest part about the growth of the sport. Give them something a little bit out of reach, and the elite athletes will make sure that is now a strength rather than a weakness.
Tudor Magda in lane 3 is creeping up here in the swim.
saw that on the women's side in the last heat, right? Your early swimmers got out quick and they got out ahead, and then that pace started there, that the gap started to close in the later rounds.
There is 1,100 calories per hour. He and Majeros, along with Resaber and Joris Karabas down in lanes 1 and 2.
For these rounds, cal per hour pace somewhere between 1,000 to maybe mid 1100s. Maybe not cresting too much towards the 1200 is a nice, comfortable pace. That's a good, comfortable, long stroke pace to be at in these middle rounds.
There's Agasson Raquelme.
But it looks good. No one's laboring too much. Good, nice, upright. This is where you start to see the universal resting position of the hands on the knee and the head between the toes. That's when you start to worry that these athletes are tipping a little bit too much into the red.
Now we go into the round of 16.
It just makes me so happy. I mean, these are decent swim strokes for these athletes.
Resaber and Karabas now at the top of their screen. They've been towards the front here on the swim.
Karabas on the far right. And this is where you see the difference between an easy stroke and a tough stroke is between these two athletes with Resaber. Longer stroke for Resaber on the left. Karabas a bit more short and choppy. But Karabas actually had a higher stroke rate, and usually because he's falling a little bit behind. Look at Resaber on the left. Good long stroke. Right, I'd probably like to see him reach through, push through that back a little bit more. But still decent length, good rotation in the shoulders. Part of it too is like, you know, Resaber's a big boy. Right, so he's going to put a bit more power on that ski, but Karabas, you know, he's hitting at about 1350 cals per hour, and that's a product of him getting to the wall later than other athletes, so he's going to need a little bit more intensity on the ski just to make these time cuts.
Majeros is on the left side of your screen. He is just behind Resaber and Karabas. Looks like every man is going to make it into that round of 18. So final fixed round of calories here in the round of 18 before we get to those two max calorie rounds. That's when the race starts.
I have an interesting position to rest in for Ian Majeros is, you know, when you sit at the bottom of the squat and you start to compress those muscles together, you don't get a good breath too at the bottom of that squat. I mean, we talked to Chris Henshaw yesterday about what it's like to not breathe well, and that's the position where you don't breathe well. Now, leading into this last round of 18, we talk a lot about swim stroke, length of stroke, good pulls, good catch in the front, but like the assault bike or the echo bike, it's two-parters. You got that little propeller in the back known as your feet. Utilizing that kick, leaning into your legs a little bit more to save your arms a bit is not a bad play here because it is all about the upper body when we get to the ski.
Guillaume Briand and Brent Fikowski, the first two men to get back onto the Ski Erg, and Fikowski was towards the front of the pack there on that swim.
This is still a nice, long, smooth pull. The nice thing about the Ski Erg is you actually have an opportunity to get some good breaths in. If this was a rower, you don't actually get as much. Look at the back feet for your leader. That's Briand and Fikowski, and that white water behind him. Nice, big, long strokes, but that kick is actually going to help reduce the amount of effort his upper body needs to pull through. And when you look at a Ski Erg specifically, the legs don't really have a place as far as helping you with the stroke, so if you can save a little bit in the upper body, you'll take every advantage you can get.
30 seconds to go before we hit the end of this final fixed window. 78 calories is what they need to hit. Resaber is already there, as is Majeros, and now Karabas, Fikowski, and Magda all finishing up, and it looks like the entire field is going to make it through to these two max calorie rounds.
Now, what did it take to get here? Look at Resaber on the left versus Karabas. Karabas is laboring. This is where it gets fun. This is the event. These last two sets.
saw what kind of ground athletes like Ellie Turner and Laura Horvath were able to make up with the women.
Center lane Sean Briand is leaning into that 50-meter specialist because he's no stranger to a down and back in the pool. And just like we saw with Lucy Campbell,
Briand and Fikowski are neck and neck, and they are about a length ahead of everybody else, and they will be the first two men out of the water.
Done in that 50, just under 30 seconds, so that's a decent clip for a 50-yard swim for a CrossFit athlete.
Fikowski is pulling in about 1450 right now, calories per hour, so he is outpacing Briand on the Ski Erg. Fikowski is 84 calories down. Dallin Pepper now is starting to make a move. He's pulling at nearly 1,700. Dallin Pepper in lane 6, along with Briand and Fikowski. Those are your top three men. And Dallin Pepper is starting to pull the handles off this thing. And here he comes towards the front. Dallin Pepper's on the left side of your screen. He's over 1,800 calories per hour right now.
And that's what he said on this Ski Erg. The Ski Erg is a unique machine that you can put about 95% near max intensity into it for a longer sustainable period of time. And it's not nearly as detrimental as saying doing on the Concept 2 row. You can't go 95% on a rower for over a minute and recover. It's devastating, but unique for the ski, you can. And if you don't know that, there's a big difference between the two, you're going to be too hesitant on the Ski Erg.
Hope Raysaber is making a move as well, as he now sits in second place. So Dallin Pepper puts himself on top here with one round to go with 118 calories.
Fikowski and Briand still taking it out fairly quick. Pepper's about almost half a pool length behind. Zanoni below is about third in this swim. But even though Fikowski and Briand are getting there early, now they might be saving it for this one.
If Fikowski ditched the cap and goggles here, he's behind Guillaume Briand. Here comes Dallin Pepper. We'll keep an eye on Brent Raysaber.
See, Pepper was third out of the pool.
Pepper pulling at 1,800 calories per hour. That is by far the highest right now.
Fikowski slowly creeping up to 1,700, 1,800. He's hit a few times. He's only behind by 2 cows.
Dallin Pepper now 40 seconds to go, trying to hold off Brent Fikowski. Fikowski is behind Pepper. Pepper's in lane 6. Fikowski's 2 men back. Both Raysaber and Briand are fighting for third.
Dallin Pepper just hit 2,000 cows per hour and climbing.
Dallin Pepper looks like he's going to hang on here and hold off Brent Fikowski. Final 5 seconds for Pepper. And it's Dallin Pepper at 156. For the last 20 seconds of that ski, Dallin Pepper was above 2,000 calories per hour.
I mean, I dare anyone to go in their gym and just try to figure out what that feels like. And look, first buy-in rounds, take it easy. Brent Fikowski on the right. Dallin Pepper, we didn't mention his name until the final couple of rounds. But the power that Pepper put in the Ski Erg, we said it's going to come down to this. How easy can you get there? And then how hard can you push that Ski Erg in those last 2 sets?
2 rookies in the top 3, Dallin Pepper and Gold Raysaber. Pepper now 157. Talk about that rollover. Brent Fikowski at 153. Alex Vigneault and Guillaume Briand rounding out the top 5. And final heat for the men up next here from the Soderholm Family Aquatic Center on the campus of the University of Wisconsin. Glad you're with us today, everybody. Sean Woodland and Chase Ingram in the booth. And it's Mike Arsenault at poolside. Overall standings coming into the weekend, and things got a lot more interesting last night as Ricky Garrard watched his lead shrink significantly. He now leads Justin Medeiros by just 25 points. Roman Krennikov sits comfortably in third, with Jeffrey Adler and Patrick Vellner trying to get in the mix there for a spot on the podium.
Ricky Garrard, solid all weekend long, getting a bunch of top threes, 2 first place finishes, but that only saved him after that big miss last night. But Justin Medeiros' lowest place is 18th. But everything else has been classic Medeiros. He's been finishing in the top 5 consistently over the last 3 or 4 events. And then Roman Krennikov, wondering if he's gonna have those rookie nerves. Not a rookie athlete, and Roman Krennikov has really been showing why we have been talking about him nonstop for the last 5 years.
But now we're going to put him in the water and rinse and repeat.
We're going to be in the pool, but it is all about the Ski Erg. And I think this is good for those athletes that were a little bit worried about the swim, how it read on paper. It's not about the swim. Yes, you may get more tired than your better swimmers, but if you can crank on that Ski Erg, you have an opportunity to win this event. Keep it a buy-in. It's not about the first 6 rounds. You just got to get through it without tipping into the red. Save it for the end. And no one did it better than Dallin Pepper.
Start list for this second and final heat. Jonakoski in lane 2, all his career event wins have come in swim events. He will be a factor here, and then your overall leaders will all be right next to each other in lanes 9, 10, and 11. So Ricky Garrard will be able to keep a close eye on the men chasing him. Let's send it down to Mike Arsenault.
To flip or not to flip? That is the question. I spoke to the coaches of the top 5 men on the leaderboard, and 4 of the 5 said they would utilize the open turn rather than the flip turn. The reason why: the flip requires more technical proficiency. It gets harder to perform as you get fatigued. The outlier, Roman Krennikov. He's going to start with open turns, then expect to see him use the flip as we move deeper into the event. His team very excited for his prospects here in event number 8.
And here we go, 157 calories is the score to beat. Dallin Pepper racked that up in heat number 1.
I was talking to Adam Neifer earlier this morning just about how Justin's feeling, and they're excited. They like what this event is. They like the event that's coming up in North Park. Obviously, we're going to take one step at a time, but the way Justin has been putting it back, breathing close to that top position. Justin's a very competent swimmer in the water. Ricky was a bit of an unknown. I was speaking to Kotler, and they said just, a little bit getting through this swim portion, right? He said he wasn't the best swimmer in the field, but what I think is going to be great for Ricky is that it's not about the swim. Can Ricky just get through the swim portions comfortably? Because if I'm looking at Roman, Ricky, and Medeiros for that last 2-minute intervals, and it's going to come down to who can crank harder on the Ski Erg, I mean, flip a coin shot. I have no idea how that's going to shake out, and that's the exciting part about the end of this event.
Noah Olsen, Lazar Jukic, and Roman Krennikov were the first 3 men done with their 8 calories. Pat Vellner on the left side just wrapping up his opening 8. Roman Krennikov is only 16 points back of Medeiros for second.
And not to count out Vellner, who's on the far left. We all know it's the swim that has usually kept him off either out of the podium position or a top position, but he has been religiously working on his swimming, especially in the pool, so much so he's been working with Ryan Lochte, who is one of the greatest, not just American swimmers, but swimmers in the history of the Olympics. I say it's a pretty good coach. I mean, there's a lot of dude bros in the conversation with Lochte because that's just who he is, but if you want to get some coaching advice, that's who you go to.
Round 2 underway. We're now up to 10 calories. Every single man in the first heat was able to make it the entire way through this event. So we have yet to see anybody get eliminated.
Roman Krennikov on the left has a unique stroke to what you'd see traditionally in the pool, but what this is very reminiscent of what you see some sprinters do. They have a long straight arm entry, but where his hand enters and the way those fingers hit, we talked about trying to have a clean entry. That is actually a unique stroke, but not a bad stroke when it comes to more sprint style stroke technique.
Jonakoski and Lazar Jukic, first two men out of the pool. Don't just manage your pain, fix it. With Rossi Remote Recovery now available nationwide. Scan the QR code to learn more and get started.
Very relaxed between our top three on the leaderboard. Medeiros on the right, Gerard and Krennikov.
This is one of the events that we were watching earlier. Nikki Brazier told us that every division's going to do this.
Yes.
Lucy Campbell beat 10 men in Heat 1.
I mean, did you see her swim? It was incredible, and I think that's the fun part when you look at the end of the day today. And I thought there was a very cool thing that Adrian Bosman brought into this, is that it's not everyone's going to do something similar. We're going to do less cows for maybe the age divisions. We're going to change it for the adaptive. No, it's the same event for everybody.
Let's go back down to Mike Arsenault.
One of the reasons why Roman Krennikov's team is so excited for his performance here in event number 8 is because this is actually a home game for him. Roman has been training at Pat's Gym in Madison, Wisconsin since March, and for the past month when he's been working on his swimming has been right here in this pool.
Stand by.
Third round. Now underway, 12 calories.
So watch that stroke entry. Look at his fingertips, especially on the left side. That's a clean catch. Right side a little bit more as he's breathing to that side. Right, he's breathing to the left, so that's going to change your stroke entry. But a nice long reach. Crosses over in front of him just a little bit, but I really like this for Roman Krennikov.
Krennikov to work just behind Jonakoski and Lazar Jukic. Jukic and Koski have been the first two men out of the pool in the last 2 rounds. Now, every man is onto the Ski Erg. There is Jonakoski in lane 2. Behind him is Ulis Upniks.
Be rolling right about 1,100 to 1,200 cals per hour. Still a nice, long, comfortable pace.
Lazar Jukic is in the back there on Ski Erg number 4. I mentioned earlier that all of Jonakoski's career event wins have come in swim events. Koski won the opening event in 2021, the ocean swim in 2016, and pier paddle in 2015.
You see some athletes, where can you gain an advantage? Do I need to pull harder on the Ski Erg? Do I need to kick harder on the swim? One of those things you tinker with is actually the damper setting on the Ski Erg. In these earlier rounds, it's a lot more beneficial to actually have a lower damper setting. And you actually see that a lot. You see it a lot, especially in, say, distance rowing on the Concept 2 rower, is the longer the distance you go, really the lower the damper setting you should use. And it's really all about keeping strokes per minute and how easy those strokes per minute can come. We actually saw Jason Hopper earlier. We heard he moved his damper setting from about a 6 down to a 4 after the second round. Now, what you also may see when we hit the max cals, you may see some athletes crank that damper setting all the way up to 10 for the max cals.
Koski and Jukic, first two men out of the waterfall by Roman Krennikov. Think back to last year in the swim kayak event. It was Jukic and Koski who were the top two men. Now, granted, Koski beat him by more than 2 minutes, but technically correct.
By line of sight, he even beat him on that. But yes, that was the finishing order there. And I think that's good. I'm glad we're back in the pool the first time with a full field since 2013. We had swimming stuff at the 2020 games, but that was only 5 athletes. And I said during Heat 1 of the men is how far we've come in a decade. And that's not a lot of time when you think about sport and nearly the evolution of the athletes themselves. And all of them out here are doing a much better job at handling the swim than they have in years past.
Roman Krenikov was the first man done with 14 calories, followed closely by Koski and Jukic. All 20 men still alive here. Overall standings again coming into this event a lot closer last night between Ricky Gerard and Justin Medeiros. Top 3 have really separated themselves. So Krenikov with a 103-point lead over Jeff Adler, who's only a point up on Pat Vellner right now.
Let's keep in mind, we are halfway through the competition, John. It is only Saturday morning. We are only at the halfway point, and 100 points is nothing at the end of the day when we are just midway through this competition.
Now into the round of 16, the second to last fixed round that these men will face before the final 2 max effort skis.
And different than we've seen in the other heats is no one is really separating themselves in the water just yet. We've seen a lot different strategy once we get to those max effort rounds, even though we have 2 more to go. But in the 16 and 18, we may see that cow power pace increase slightly more than we had on the first 4 sets.
Koski, Jukic, and Krenikov. Once again, the first 3 men out of the water.
You see that quick start from Yonakowski, a couple short strict pulls to just get that fan speed up. And what we may see is a lot of athletes practice their start. Practice their start, how quick can I get a first couple of cals in, and then maybe back it off. And that's the practice that they're trying to set themselves up for those last 2 rounds.
60 calories is the number that they need to hit. Yonakowski right now is on the lead, followed by Lazar Jukic and Jeff Adler, along with Travis Mayer.
Like I said, go down the list of guys that can dance on a skier. It's nearly every single one of them. And if they can handle the swim, and this is when everyone's great at one thing, you got to look to the other. We said it's not about the swim, but if everybody can really hit the same intensity on the skier, well then who's going to get there with more time? So then the swim comes back into play. It's almost like the evolution of Helen. When you first do Helen, 3 rounds for time, 40-meter run, 21 kettlebell swings, 12 pull-ups. When you start CrossFit, it's about the swings and the pull-ups. When you're at this level, it becomes about the run. It's just really cool to see how an event changes as you go from round 1 to round 8.
Stand by.
Now into the round of 18. You get through this, you get the bonus 2 max effort rounds.
Roman in that center lane, still using that open turn to get a breath. He was ahead of Koski, but Koski is utilizing that flip turn. That got him ahead by just a little bit. So, like Mike was saying, there is advantage on it if you can do it. If you can't, it is a waste of your time and your energy.
These are the top 3 men in the overall standing. Roman Krenikov, Ricky Gerard, and Justin Medeiros. Pretty even on that 50-meter swim. Yonakowski and Lazar Jukic.
Koski on the left side. Got it, the fan speed all the way up to 1500 to hour, then backed it off to 1200.
Jukic coming in 13th place overall. He's been as high as 4th in the standings. That was after Elizabeth elevated.
So what's been interesting so far this year is that everyone's kicked one into the stands. Almost all these athletes have something outside the 20th place finish. All except Medeiros, I think, is worse as 18th so far. It's been a very, very interesting couple of days so far.
Krenikov is done. He'll have about 25 seconds to rest, and every man is going to make it through. There's Justin Medeiros, who trails Ricky Gerard by 25 points, was able to shave 62 off of Gerard's lead last night. So here we go.
That's Roman.
And Roman Krennikov is loving every minute of this. The first time he has been able to compete at the CrossFit Games in person, and he is making the most of it. It's max cows from here on out.
Down and back 50 yards. And as you said, Sean, max cows in the remainder of time within a 2-minute interval. Open turn for Roman and Medeiros in the center lanes. Ricky is about a body length and a half behind. At the bottom, Koski, no surprise to see him in the lead, but Jukic just behind him.
Koski's going to be the first man out. Followed by Jukic, and here we go. Max cows, Koski to work, Jukic to work. Medeiros just ahead of Krennikov. Gerard has yet to get to the ski. Gerard now just starting.
Vilner getting out of the water on the right side. We saw Pepper hit 2,000 in the second round, about 700 to 1,800 in the first round. And that's where we see Quant actually is cresting that 1,800 cal mark.
Justin Medeiros is out pulling Ricky Gerard right now. Medeiros at about a 1,500 calorie pace. He's on the right side of your screen. Roman Krennikov is over 1,700 calories per hour right now, and he is in first place along with Koski.
And look at his stroke rate by Roman Krennikov. He's on the right screen, left of it. That is not a max intense pull, but he's still operating at 1,700 calories per hour, higher than anybody in the field other than Sam Quant.
20 seconds left, and Roman Krennikov is starting to open up a lead. He's through that 111 calories, and he's keeping that 1,700 calorie per hour pace. Justin Medeiros is creeping up. Ricky Gerard is trying to hang with Medeiros, and he's getting closer to him now, but Medeiros has a 4-calorie lead on Gerard. Final round.
Looks like Krennikov has about a 4-cal lead on Quant, 3-cal lead on Jukic, and 5 on Medeiros. Look at your top 4 so far. Koski at the bottom. 5 cals for Koski behind, so he needs some time here. Krennikov is going to be able to pull on this a bit harder than Koski, so he needs to get an edge.
Koski first man there. Jukic right behind him. Here's Roman Krennikov. Gerard. And Medeiros at about the same time. I think Medeiros got a little bit of a jump on him here on this final ski. Krennikov trying to hold off Jukic and Koski. Medeiros has about a 6-calorie lead on Ricky Gerard right now. Krennikov at 143 and counting, 45 seconds left.
Caron's cranking at 1,900. He might make a move here at the end.
Alexander Caron at 123 calories, but those are ticking off quickly. Krennikov is now pulling at nearly a 1,900 calorie per hour rate. Remember, he won that 1,000-meter row for time in 2020 in the virtual portion of the CrossFit Games.
Cole Sager in lane 5 is pulling at 2,000. So is Gerard now.
Ricky Gerard is trying to make up ground on Justin Medeiros. He's 4 calories behind him. Final seconds. Roman Krennikov looking to lock up the event win. And Roman Krennikov is going to do it. 160 for Roman Krennikov. Yeah, Roman, you did it, man. Event win for Roman Krennikov in his first in-person appearance here at the CrossFit Games. His second career event win. His first, though, in front of a live audience.
What a race.
It's the first time we see someone who's very good on the swim in those early rounds carry it over into the max cal round.
Sean, we've been saying it all weekend in every event we had. Do you want to be fast? Do you want to be strong? Do you want to have gymnastic skills or do you want to have strength? Do you want to be a good swimmer or a great skier? The answer is always both. We are greedy here as CrossFitters. I want it all. I want to be fast, strong. I want to be able to walk on my hands. I want to be deadlift 1,000 pounds. The fittest will reign supreme. And Roman Karenikov put them both together and absolutely dominated this event.
Roman Karenikov's going to pick up 100 points for his second career event win. Dallin Pepper will take second thanks to that incredible effort in heat number 1. Jona Koski finishes third, followed by Jukic and Kwan. Medeiros will pick up more points on Ricky Garrard. That's going to get really interesting throughout the rest of the day.
It is, but that's great for Ricky. What he thought of coming in was a bit of a damage control. You get a top 10, you only lose a couple points to Ricky Garrard, but look at the top of the leaderboard, and it's going to get more compressed in our top 3 with that win from Roman Karenikov.
Let's go down to Mike Arsenault.
Roman, you've been waiting for this moment for 5 years, finally competing in person at the CrossFit Games. You just had your first event win in front of a crowd, 100 points. What does this experience mean to you?
Во-первых, хочу передать всем привет, кто за меня болеет. Ну, ответ на вопрос. Очень такие чувства я уже сегодня ночью представлял, как это будет. То есть представлял, что выиграю. То есть просто заглянул в будущее, и сейчас оно исполнилось. То есть ничего такого особенного я сейчас не испытываю. Просто кайфанули.
He's been imagining this moment in his last night, actually, visualizing his win. So nothing new is for him. And he wants to say hi to everybody who's been cheering for him all these years. He really appreciates your support. Thank you so much.
Еще хочу передать своему другу привет. Гадир, я нормально тебе сделал.
And he has a really good friend. He's saying hi to him. He'll get it.
I couldn't have said it better myself. Roman, congratulations, 100 points here on event number 8.
It's hard not to be happy for Roman Karenikov, who has waited so long to get here, and it has been worth the wait. Head to games.crossfit.com for the official results, standings, and more. Plenty more action to come here today on Saturday at the CrossFit Games. Stay with us, everybody. The 2022 NOBULL CrossFit Games are sponsored by Rogue, the official equipment supplier of the NOBULL CrossFit Games. Arasti, the official rapid recovery provider of CrossFit. Monster Hydro, the official energy drink of the NOBULL CrossFit Games. GoWad, the official mobility partner of the NOBULL CrossFit Games. And NOBULL. No excuses, no shortcuts, no gimmicks, no tomorrows. No bull.
A lot of things were going through my head. After birth, I still remember I could not walk downhill with the stroller. Now all of a sudden, podium was realistic.
You've also got this development where you're starting to get these younger athletes.
Kids who have been doing CrossFit since they've been in elementary school.
Mal O'Brien, we saw her stare right in the face of the reigning women's champion and not blink.
The young, upcoming, new blood of the sport.
Whether your goal is to chase records, write history, or become the best version of yourself, the intention put into the process is the same. To push your body to give its best every single day. For your body to give you what you want, you have to give it what it needs. The consistency you apply in every detail around your training is key. It allows you to perform one more rep in the last second. It's that rep that makes all the difference to make you better tomorrow.
Entertaining all the player hating imitators who imitate the simulators, but they can't debate us. Why even losing? You can see that I'm a winner, baby. Y'all just don't know the places I go. I've got my flow, my gut, my soul, my whole inside's alive with that glow. Y'all just don't know the places I go. I've got my flow, my gut, my soul, my whole inside's alive with that glow. Y'all just don't know.
Valuable in yourself is just like a $100 bill. No matter what you go through, if you believe in yourself, you still have value.
The cool part about Expanding Horizons is there's no other program out there that bridges the gap between youth on probation and life after probation.
So it's a court order program where they come to CrossFit 4 days a week for an hour and participate in CrossFit. And the success of that program over the course of the last 4 years has been phenomenal. We all talk about this, right? CrossFit's developing friendships through thrusters and pull-ups. Truly, that means community, and we surround the youth with community.
What these kids need is they need a positive community that really rallies around them and supports them to be the best person that they can be.
You can make it. Remember the values you have in yourselves. That's the lesson I got for you today.